was supposed to be a quiet Sunday afternoon. I wasn't even supposed to be home until Tuesday. But the flight got canceled, and I figured why not drive back a little early. The ranch had been on my mind anyway. Something felt off. As I turned onto the long dirt path leading to my land, I saw a silver SUV parked crooked by the side gate. Not near the guest entrance, right by the breaker shed. That was already weird. I slowed down, narrowed my eyes. And that's when I saw her. Karen. Hair sprayed to the sky, sunglasses bigger than her forehead, arms flailing like she was running the place. And in her hand, a giant bolt cutter. She didn't see me at first. She was too busy yanking wires and talking loudly into her phone. I rolled down my window and caught part of it. Because he's not allowed to power that barn. It's an HOA violation. No, I don't care if he owns it. He's not even supposed to be here yet. I parked the truck and stepped out slowly. "Hey," I shouted, calm but firm. "What the hell are you doing?" She spun around, startled like she'd seen a ghost. You're not supposed to be back. You said Tuesday." I stared at her. "So you thought you'd cut off my electricity while I was gone?" She lifted her chin, fake confidence written all over her face. "You're in violation. This property falls under our jurisdiction, and that shed is illegal." I smirked. "I built that shed with permits 5 years ago on my land." Karen pulled out her phone again, eyes wide with sudden urgency. "I'm calling 911, right now. You're trespassing, and you just threatened me." I laughed, cold, short. "Lady, I live here." She backed up, still pretending like she had some kind of authority. "No, you don't. You don't live here legally. I already filed a complaint." I stepped closer, not aggressive, but enough to make her stop walking backward. "You filed a complaint on a property you don't own, on land you don't even manage?" She didn't answer, just pressed her phone to her ear and shouted, "Yes. Operator, there's a man here. He just showed up and is trying to assault me on HOA property. Send someone now. He's dangerous." And then, like some bad sitcom, she dropped the bolt cutters right in front of me. I looked down at the evidence, looked back up at her. "You sure you want to go that route?" She smirked. "You don't know who I am." I looked her dead in the eye. "Yeah, and you don't know who I am." She started pacing, pretending to cry now, pacing in little dramatic circles as if she was some helpless victim. But every second, her act got sloppier. "Help! He's threatening me! I need police here right now!" She yelled into the phone, throwing glances my way like she was checking to see if I looked scared yet. But I wasn't. I wasn't even mad. I was calculating. Because what she didn't know, what she couldn't have known, is that I already had every inch of that ranch wired with security cameras, motion-triggered, real-time cloud upload. I even got notifications while I was at the airport yesterday, but figured it was probably just a deer. It wasn't a deer. And now I had her. Cutting through my power lines, trespassing, making a false emergency call, and lying to the police. All on video. "You really want the cops to come out here, huh?" I said quietly. She froze. "Yes," she snapped. "They need to come right now. You're making threats." I tilted my head. "Am I?" She looked unsure now. Her voice dropped just a notch. "You're scaring me." "You broke into my property and cut my power," I replied. "You were talking about permits you've never seen and trying to act like you run this place. Karen, this isn't a suburb. This is my ranch, private land. You're the one in trouble." Her lips trembled a little, but she tried to stand tall. "This land is part of the Pine Hollow Community Network. I'm head of the homeowners committee, and we've got jurisdiction over this area." I raised my eyebrows. "Pine Hollow ends 2 miles east. You're standing on federal granted ranch property, not even zoned the same." Silence. For the first time, I saw a flicker of panic behind her shades. And just then, The sound of sirens started to rise in the distance. Karen perked up like it was Christmas morning. "They're coming," she whispered, suddenly grinning again. "You're gonna regret this." I took a deep breath and crossed my arms. "No, Karen, you are." Because the second those sirens got closer, I knew exactly which deputy was in that cruiser. And more importantly, he knew me. The cruiser rolled up, slow, kicking up a light cloud of dust as it approached the gate. Karen stood up straighter, brushing her hands over her blouse like she was preparing for some kind of courtroom moment. Her smirk came back. "I'll let the officer handle you," she said smugly. "You're going to jail." But when the docker swung open and Deputy Cole stepped out, everything shifted. Karen didn't recognize him at first, but I did. We went through training together back when I was still active duty, served in the same unit, stayed close ever since I moved out here to retire. He gave me a quick nod. "Logan," he said calmly, "didn't know you were back early." Karen blinked. "Wait, you know him?" Cole ignored her, eyes scanning the bolt cutter still lying on the ground. "What's going on here?" he asked, voice neutral but sharp. Before I could speak, Karen jumped in. "Officer, thank God. This man, he's trespassing, he threatened me, and I think he's been living here illegally. I caught him trying to rig up something in that shed over there. Probably some kind of meth lab or something. He got aggressive when I confronted him." Cole didn't even blink. He just looked at me, then back at her. "Ma'am, this is Logan Carter. He owns this entire property. Titles in his name. Verified and on file." Karen's jaw dropped. No, that's not possible. This land falls under the HOA." Cole shook his head. "No, it doesn't. That line was rezoned 8 years ago. You're standing on private ranch land outside your community boundary. Meaning, you've got no authority here." Karen took a shaky step back. But I was told." "By who?" I asked, stepping forward. "Who told you to come cut my power, Karen?" She looked trapped now, eyes darting everywhere but at us. Her mouth opened, but nothing came out. Cole turned toward the breaker shed. "Logan, you want to press charges?" I didn't answer right away, just stared at Karen, who suddenly wasn't acting so high and mighty anymore. Then I pulled my phone from my pocket, tapped the screen, and played the footage, her voice crystal clear. "He's not supposed to be here yet. Cut the wires before he comes back." I'll just say I felt threatened. The color drained from her face. "You were recording me?" she whispered. I tilted my head. "No, Karen. The ranch was recording you." She turned to run, but she didn't even make it past the front tire of the cruiser before Cole raised his voice. "Stop right there, ma'am." Karen froze like her legs stopped working, and that's when things really started to unravel. Karen turned around slowly, hands twitching at her sides like she couldn't decide whether to cry, scream, or keep lying. Her voice came out sharp, desperate. "This is a mistake. I was trying to help the community. He was breaking regulations. I was protecting the neighborhood." Cole stepped forward, hand resting near his belt, not on his weapon, just enough to let her know he wasn't playing. "Ma'am, you're trespassing on private property, vandalizing electrical systems, and making a false 911 report. That's 3 charges already." Karen's voice cracked. "You don't understand. He doesn't belong here. He's dangerous. Look at him." Cole turned and looked at me for a beat, then looked back at her. "I do see him. Decorated Army engineer, 3 tours. Helped design half the infrastructure for this county. Got awarded a key to the city last year. That the man you're talking about?" She blinked, mouth opening slightly like she just heard her whole reality collapse. "You're lying," she muttered. "No way." Cole pulled out his notepad. "You said he was cooking meth. That's slander. False accusation. We've got you on video saying it. Do you understand how serious this is?" Karen's hands went up like she was being mugged. I didn't mean it. I was just scared. He yelled at me." I stepped forward, keeping my tone flat. "You mean when I found you breaking into my breaker box with bolt cutters?" She looked at me like she wanted to vanish. I didn't know who you were. That's the problem, I said. You never bothered to ask. You just saw someone who didn't fit your perfect little picture, and you decided you were in charge. She started shaking her head, but now the panic was real. No more fake tears. No more fake authority. Just the look of someone who finally realized the game was over. Cole clicked his pen closed. You're being detained for questioning. You have the right to remain silent. No, wait, she cried. I didn't mean to. Cole cut her off with a raised hand. Save it for the station. As he read her rights, Karen looked at me one last time like she wanted to beg, or curse me out, or maybe just wake up from whatever nightmare she'd just fallen into. But all I did was stand there, arms crossed, watching her finally get a taste of the rules she thought only applied to others. And in that silence, with the breeze rustling through the trees and the hum of justice buzzing in the air, one thought echoed loudest in my mind. You picked the wrong ranch. The back door of the cruiser clicked shut behind her, and for the first time since I stepped onto the property that afternoon, everything went still. No yelling, no lies, no fake phone calls, just the sound of the wind and the low hum of my generator, trying to recover from being yanked offline. Cole walked over and clapped a hand on my shoulder. She really had no clue who you were, huh? I shook my head. Nope. Walked right onto my land like she owned it. Cut power to the barn where I keep medical storage, by the way. Could have ruined a month's worth of supplies. He sighed. That's another felony, by the way. Reckless damage to essential infrastructure. Add it to the list, I muttered. He looked over at the shed. Mind if I grab a few shots for the report? Already got you covered, I said, handing him a USB. Pulled the footage while she was running her mouth. You'll find everything. When she showed up, what she said, even her peeling off fake HOA warning stickers from her glove box. Cole raised an eyebrow. She brought fake notices? 3 of them. All printed on that cheap glossy paper like she made 'em at a Staples. He chuckled, shaking his head. Man, this is gonna blow up. I nodded. Good. Cole paused for a second. You want this to go public? I didn't answer right away. Just looked out across my land at the horses grazing near the edge of the fence line, at the barn that now had its power back, at the place I built with my own hands. I'm tired of people like her thinking they can take over places they don't belong in. Tired of folks treating veterans like squatters just because we don't fit their HOA fantasy world. Cole studied me for a beat, then gave a slow nod. I'll file it clean, the rest's up to you. As he got back into the cruiser and drove off with Karen still rambling nonsense in the back seat, I stood there alone for a moment longer, watching the dust settle, listening to the quiet. But it wasn't over, not even close. Because the next morning something slid under my gate. A white envelope, unmarked. Inside, a typed letter. We warned you not to disrupt the system. Stay quiet, or next time it won't be just your power that gets cut. And just like that, I realized Karen wasn't working alone. I stood at the gate, that letter in my hand, fingers tightening around the paper as I read it again and again. The words were cold, threatening. No name, no signature. Just a plain message, typed like it came out of an old office printer, but it hit harder than anything Karen had done herself. This wasn't just some overstepping HOA lady trying to play queen of the neighborhood anymore. This was organized, calculated, and worse, it meant there were more of them. I scanned the property, instincts kicking back in like I was overseas again. Something felt off. My fences were intact, no signs of a break-in. But I noticed it just barely. One of the side cameras had been shifted, not broken, just tilted slightly upward, like someone had redirected it. Someone who knew what they were doing. I rushed to my system inside the barn, pulled the last 12 hours of footage. Nothing obvious. But between 2:13 and 2:27 a.m., there was a blackout on just that one camera. That wasn't a coincidence. That was a message. They wanted me to know they could get in. They wanted to rattle me, push me into silence, make me think twice before pressing charges or going public, but they forgot who they were dealing with. This land wasn't just where I lived, it was where I fought to live again after coming back. Every fence post, every wall, every damn wire, I built it with purpose. And if they thought a printed threat and a tampered camera would make me pack up and vanish, they were wrong. I called Cole, sent him a photo of the letter, told him about the blackout. "You think someone's trying to intimidate you into dropping the case?" he asked. "Feels like a test run," I said. "Karen was just the bait. Someone higher up wants this land for something, and they're willing to go dirty for it." He went quiet for a second. "You want backup?" I looked out toward the tree line. "No," I said calmly. "I want answers." Because now I wasn't just defending my home, I was about to expose something bigger, and whoever was hiding behind that fake HOA shield was about to find out what happens when you mess with the wrong man. The next 48 hours moved like a storm. I filed the footage, the letter, the tampered camera, all of it, with the sheriff's office. Cole flagged it active threat, but I could tell even he was nervous. Not scared, just cautious, because this wasn't some bored retiree with a clipboard anymore. This was a network, a system of control, fake authority, and intimidation buried inside a so-called community structure. And they'd been doing it for years. Turns out Karen was just one of the faces. She wasn't even on the official HOA board. She was part of a shadow council, some kind of unofficial group inside Pine Hollow who'd taken it upon themselves to manage the outer properties, especially the ones owned by outsiders, especially veterans, especially people who didn't fit their image. They had a strategy: fake violations, cut utilities, use public shame, even stage police calls. Push you until you either sold your land or did something rash that got you arrested. And this time, they picked the wrong ranch. I made the decision. I released the footage, the entire story, posted it on every local group page, sent it to a few contacts at the state level, people I still knew from my military days. Within 12 hours, it was everywhere. Within 24 hours, the story hit the regional news. And within 72, the HOA board was under investigation. Karen's fake committee got dissolved. 3 members were arrested for conspiracy and impersonation. Multiple families came forward, saying they'd been pushed off their land the same way. But not anymore. I didn't press criminal charges for the power line, though I could have. Instead, I sued, and I won. 6 figures in damages. Enough to upgrade every inch of my property security, rebuild the barn even better, and set up a small legal fund for anyone else who ever found themselves targeted like I was. Karen, she moved out of state. But not before going viral. Her face became the image of HOA corruption across the country. And me? I stayed. Didn't budge an inch, because this land, I fought for it. And now it stands for more than just a ranch. It's a line in the dirt, a reminder. We don't run, we don't bow, and we don't lose ground to people who think paper power beats honor. I didn't fight for this country to be told I can't park on my own land. Not then. Not ever.